Hello, everybody. Today I am so excited because like I was talking about before, I have Amber here. Amber is a teacher who went from teaching the OKC course to teaching free talk only. Is that correct? Only free talk.
Yes, only free talk now.
Okay. So,
Only free talk.
all right, Amber, I'm going to let you just start. And if you're comfortable with that, can you just start and tell me what made you choose to go to free talk?
Okay, so I started OKC with Palfish. I'm still relatively a newbie. I only started with Palfish kind of in December, like the very end of December. And I started as OKC. I didn't know there was such a thing as free talk. So I spent like a month just playing on the app, like getting some trials in, realized there was free talk and what free talk was. And I was like, wow. To me, free talk was like, well, this is really good. I could do so much with free talk. And also as I got to know OKC more, I kind of figured that there are fines and penalties for things like missing classes if I had an emergency, because I actually have one of my children has got medical needs. So he has a physical disability, and unfortunately that means that there are times when we just have to drop and run and leave everything and sort of go to hospital. And when those things happen, you haven't got time to cancel anything. So I knew from an OKC standpoint, if I got to where I had like a lot of students and anything happened, like it's not if something is going to happen, it's when something's going to happen. So we always have to be ready to run to the hospital. I knew that once my schedule hit a certain point with OKC, if I just dropped a day of classes, I would get fined so much. I would let all my OKC students down. I wouldn't even have time to cancel with them. It would be a case of I'd be a no-show. And I felt really bad for like the kids that would happen to. So I decided as soon as my schedule hit a certain point, and I decided this like after my first month here, before I got attached to anybody, before my schedule filled up, I thought, okay, once my OKC hits a point where I'm getting maybe like 8 to 10 OKC a day, that's the time I have to stop OKC, because my workload would be too much then to manage. If I have to drop and cancel 10 classes, well, just not show up for 10 classes, that's the penalties, the fines, my reputation as a reliable teacher would all be gone. So I didn't want to risk that, and I didn't want to let my OKC kids down, because I know that's going to happen one day. So, whereas normally where like you have like an OKC teacher and they do free talk like as a side thing on the side, I sort of knew after my first month, okay, I have to do this backwards. So I have to make my free talk my main thing, and my OKC I treated as just something on the side. So I used OKC to build up my hours. So I knew eventually when I leave OKC, I have good hours and I have regular free talk students.
Because the free talk students can see your hours. OKC students cannot see your hours, but free talk students can.
Yeah,
that was a good
plan. So I wanted to build it up. So to free talk, I've got a lot of hours. Well, I haven't got loads of hours, but they could see I've got quite a few hours. They don't know that those hours, they don't know that those are OKC hours. They think, oh, free talk teacher, exclusively free talk, those are free talk hours, even though a lot of them are OKC hours. They kind of don't know that.
No, so. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. And honestly, teaching OKC kind of gears you up to teach good free talk classes. I think a lot of brand new teachers that just teach free talk, when they first start teaching free talk, they treat it like a phone call and nothing but a phone call. But there are other ways to do it. There are different ways. How do you do it?
I have a mix. I have some students who just want conversational English. So they'll call, we'll just have a chat about whatever they want to chat about. But when I've got those calls, I make notes. So I write down who they are, how old they are, if they tell me anything, like, are they a student, where they work, where do they live, what city are they in, anything we discussed, I write that down. So if they call me again, I can say, oh, how is it in Beijing today? And they're like, whoa, she remembers I'm in Beijing. I've written it all down. So if I see them pop up again, I look through my notes and I remember what we spoke about last time. So I'm not asking them the same things, even though it's just a general conversation. And
do you make
can
corrections?
ask them things they tell me. Yes, I tend to. It depends on the students. Some students say right at the beginning, can you correct my pronunciation or my grammar if I make a mistake? So then I will, and I'll kind of wait until they pause in the conversation. I won't just like cut them off. I'll wait until they take a breather, and then, or if they make a mistake when they're talking, you can always type in the chat. So you can send them a message while they're talking. So if they make a big mistake, I'll just type the word, and then they'll see it in the chat, and then they'll realize, and then they'll stop and say, how do I pronounce that? Or what's another word for that? But some students do want structured lessons. So you have to kind of accommodate both. You've got the general want just a chat, and then you've got the I want a structured lesson. So you have to be able to do both.
How many free talk classes do you think that you teach a day?
I sometimes get maybe 5 or 6. I can get 5 or 6 scheduled. Those are like my regulars. And then if I want to turn my green button on, some days I get like another 2 or 3. Some days I won't get any.
And you're still doing a couple OKC classes too?
No, I've quit OKC completely.
So you eventually completely dropped.
Yes.
So your income with free talk, where is it in comparison to when you were working with OKC doing the classes you were doing?
Well, when I was building it up, my income steadily increased. So my last month when I did OKC, I earned, I don't mind saying how much I actually got in income, because I think that's really important. So I got just under, in like UK pounds, it was just under 900 pounds, which I think is about 1,100 US dollars. So Canadian dollars, maybe a little more. I think Canadian dollars, it's a little more. That was my last month when I did OKC and free talk. That's what I got. So when I quit OKC, I quit at the beginning of June. So in June I had no OKC classes at all. And before that point, I was doing like 60% of my classes were free talk and 40% were OKC. So I like just chopped out 40% of my schedule. So I figured I would probably earn a lot less than like the 900 because I wasn't getting any OKC bonuses. Obviously not doing OKC, I was missing the bonuses. The schedule was probably not, I just started to snowball. So my last 2 weeks of OKC, I'd got regulars, I'd got OKC kids just popping in for a lesson I'd never seen before. I think I'd actually been featured. So I was getting trials. So it all snowballed in the last 2 weeks of that month. And I thought, oh, heck, this is the point, I need to cut it now. So my month when I did with just free talk, I still got to like 850 in UK pounds, which is maybe like it was only like £50 less in UK pounds. So
that's $1,068 US dollars. Okay.
So the dip wasn't as much as I thought it would be, but I did have my green button on a lot because I knew I had to make up that 40% in my schedule.
But you're also still a new free talk teacher.
Say again, sorry?
You are also still a new free talk teacher. You're
pretty much new, yeah.
So I mean, I would assume, now I don't know too much about free talk, and let's be honest, the free talk teachers don't talk about it.
No.
They don't, they do not help. They're like, this is my business.
Aha.
I will not help you. And that's the
Oh
majority of
no.
free. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, yeah. There's a few free talk teachers who have helped me loads. But I was like, okay, I had to learn like there's less support for free talk, so you have to ask other teachers. And I asked loads of other teachers, and there were one or two that really pulled through and helped me out, gave me tips to get started. A lot just completely ignored me. The top teachers tend to like ignore you and think, nah, I'm not helping you out. So
Well,
I
that's
thought,
probably
okay.
because the top teachers don't want every single person hitting them up. What the top teachers should do is they should charge for their time, but they can't
That's
really.
true.
They
Yeah.
should. How awesome would that be? And if any of the top teachers are watching this, I am
Yeah,
sure
you
that a lot of
should.
teachers, I'm sure that a lot of Palfish teachers would be more than willing to pay for your time to figure out how you do it. But
Definitely.
yep, but
Yeah.
they totally should. But I mean, I understand it because you think about it, and it's like, say there's like 10,000 free talk teachers that are trying to make it, and I don't know how many there are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody can see who the number one is, and if it gets out that he's helping
Yeah.
people,
Yeah, that's true.
that's
That's
not going to
true.
happen anymore.
No.
Where are
No,
you?
that's true.
Are you ranked up there anywhere? I'm going to look real quick.
I'm not ranked at the moment. I was on the lesson rankings. I can't remember what I came on the lesson rank last month, but one of my lessons did get on the lesson rankings last month. This month I dropped off the lesson rankings this month, and I'm not on the ranks at the moment.
Okay.
In the ranks, the highest I've been, I think, is like maybe 18 or 19, like in the low 20s. So that's when I've like had like a really good day. Again, I've got
That's
like
good.
my kids. I haven't got my button on all day, because obviously I've got like my kids and my boy with the medical thing. So I do have a lot of time off.
So
So
that's good. And I'm glad that you found something that
mm,
works for your schedule, because it's really hard.
mm-hmm.
That's somebody actually messaged me last night because I started teaching for Outschool, and they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah.
they're like, what do you like better, Outschool or Palfish?" And and I'm like, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
Outschool is an American company, so they don't have these fines and stuff because they can't. You
Yeah.
know, Palfish, there's some great things about Palfish, but honestly, it really depends on what fits into your life. And,
Mm-hmm.
for you, Official Kids
Yeah.
Talk did not fit into your life. It's really good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's flexible if you have the ability to make those changes, 24 hours
Uh-huh.
out, 2 weeks out, whatever. But if you don't
Yeah.
have that, I'm glad that you were able to figure this out. I have been meaning
Yeah.
I have been meaning to. So I started with VIP Kid, and then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
nope, I like Palefish better. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Palefish, and I'm gonna make it work. So I went to Palefish, and within a month, I was a level 5 teacher. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I started in December, but then I was with VIP Kid, and Palefish was my backup. So I started in
Mm-hmm.
December, and then like by I think it was like April or May or something, I was like, nope, I'm dropping VIP Kid. I'm going all in with Palefish.
Mm-hmm.
Within a month, I was a level 5 teacher, and
Wow.
like I truly believe that if you have that mindset, you can make anything happen. And
Mm-hmm.
I haven't prioritized free talk, so I haven't figured it out to be like. So I don't
Yeah.
think about it because I have a million other priorities. But I'm really excited to talk to somebody who has taken that time, because you guys are like, you free talk teachers are ghosts. Nobody talks about it. Okay,
Yeah.
seminars. Have you done seminars?
I've done a seminar. I've got a seminar and two people have bought it, but I haven't taught it yet. But I was really looking to do seminars. I've got one seminar, which is actually a medical seminar. It's not strictly speaking an English one, which is also what I really love about Free Talk, is you can teach anything. I mean, I've seen like teachers teach Spanish and German. I've seen medical free talks and like history free talks, like history lessons and history seminars. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a medical seminar. It's actually about my son's condition because I know a lot about it. So I have had 2 buyers, but I haven't actually taught it yet. Teacher Angela, she has done like
which Palfish help group or which free talk help group is that?
It's called FT Help. Unfortunately, I can't search anymore for groups on my app.
What? Really?
Yeah, when I search for groups, nothing comes up anymore. I don't know whether I'm on Android. I don't know whether it's an Android thing, but for the last few months, my search function for groups has not worked. So other people have said, I can't find it. So if anybody wants it now, they message me on Palfish and I just send them the link to the group. And that group has a really good, what's the word? You know, when you have an example template, it has a really good template for lesson plans that you can just copy, paste, and then just change to your own details. And apparently that is a good formula to get approved for lessons.
Would you recommend that teachers focus in on both of them, or do you think they should focus on one and master that and go with that?
You mean like OKC or Free Talk?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it depends on what you're most comfortable with. Like, see what your strength is. If you really like the OKC, like the kids and the structure, focus on the OKC. Like free talks, you can also teach kids, but you can get like adults, teens, like really older people, and then also really young. So there's a massive spectrum.
I think what I'm kind of worried about is people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, oh, I can do everything. And I personally think that they should like focus on one and master that, like make that theirs, and then kind of dive into something else. But I guess everybody has their own way to do things. I know a lot of OKC teachers when they come in, they don't get any trials. And actually you needed to get those trials. You use those trials to boost your hours. But a lot of people will come in and they'll be like, oh, I want to learn free talk to supplement, and they don't do it. Like they try, but they're not able to really go anywhere with it because whatever reason.
Free talk, actually, I think from doing OKC to doing free talk, I actually think free talk's a lot harder to get started, because like OKC, you're kind of, if you get trials, you're kind of fed the trials, and then you might attract the attention of the head teacher, and then you'll get classes. Students might stay with you and have fixed slots. So you've got all that kind of.
They're buying larger packages.
Yeah.
So like they're buying a package that might last them like a year or 6 months. So that's your student for a year or 6 months.
And if they like you, they'll stick with you. But free talk, it's just you and that student. Like there's no sales team, there's no trials, there's no head teacher like who will spot you and suggest you to a free talk student. It is literally, it's just you finding your students. I think it's harder. And also when you start, the pay for free talk is a lot lower. It's like literally you have to start on half what you would make on OKC at level 1. And that puts a lot of OKC teachers off, because you're like getting paid half pay and you are not given you're not given the lesson. You have to either do one yourself or you have to like talk to somebody. So you're not given the stuff.
It's an investment when you're making that. I think that anyone that's watching this that wants to get into free talk needs to be a hard worker. And they can't be like the people that are making excuses, and there's a lot of people out there that will make excuses. Well, I'm not getting trials because right now, and I'm not getting trials because I'm not getting students because of XYZ. I'm not, like those teachers I think really need to work on some personal development before they get into free talk. I could be wrong, but I think that free talk, you do have to work a lot harder, and that's it. You need to expect that.
Yeah, right. And also, like, if you've got an OKC student, you're kind of guaranteed that most of the time you're that kid's only teacher. Like, some kids might have 2 teachers, but being a free talk teacher, I know my students, they have like 5 or 6 other free talk teachers as well as me. So if I have a bad day or I don't do like a really good job, they've already got 6 other teachers they'd be happy to like take classes with. So there's quite a lot more competition, but you're always aware you're like one student who you see like twice a week has also got like another 4 or 5 teachers they see regularly. So there's always that. They're not just your student, which is like a big difference between free talk and OKC. You always have to kind of be aware of that.
That's why teachers don't talk about it, because it is a jungle in the free talk world. Yes, it is a jungle in the free talk world.
It's like the Wild West. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah. And you just have to go in there and just see how you get on.
And I know that personally, the free talk group, I don't know if it's the same free talk group, but the big free talk group, when I was mentoring and I'd had people come in, they would decide that they were going to do free talk. They'd go in that group, they'd come back and they'd be like, oh my God, tell admin on them. So don't expect the free talk group to be like the mentor groups.
Yeah.
You're working in the jungle, you're learning in the jungle too. The free talk groups can be like that, right?
Yeah. And there's no free talk mentors. So everybody's just like winging it and like working out what works for them, and what works for me probably won't work for the next free talk teacher. So I can only say, look, this has worked for me, might not work for you. So everybody kind of has to find their own way in free talk. It's not like one shape doesn't fit everybody.
I'm gonna tell you a secret real quick.
A bit unsettling. Oh, go
on. The mentors all learn by winging it too.
Do they?
and then they're chosen because they figured it out. It's not that we were chosen to be mentors and then we were told how to do it. We figured it out, and then Palfish said, okay, you could be a mentor, you figured it out. Okay, pay. Prices, not pay, but prices. That's what someone said. You may have seen, did you already see this in the group?
I did see that.
Okay,
so I'm just going to go through that like half an hour ago.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, I saw I added you in the group. I don't know. You requested to join like yesterday, I thought. So
yeah, okay. I did request yesterday.
So Claire wants to know about prices.
Well, as like so when you do free talk, you set your own rate. Okay, so there's a trial rate, which is the first time anybody calls you, like with your green button. They pay a trial rate, and usually that's cheaper because you want to attract students to call you, and then if they like you, they'll call again. And so then you have your regular rate, which is after your first call, it's what they will pay for your regular rate. Now, when you start, you have to start really low. Even if you're already an OKC teacher with hours, if you were to like pop over to free talk tomorrow, you still have to start like less than half of what you would get for a level 1 OKC. So we're talking like maybe, I don't know, £6, like UK again. I think.
What do you set it for RMB?
Okay, so when you start, you probably have to start at like 1.1 RMB per minute, which is super low. Like
that's for your trial rate?
Pretty low. That would be for your regular rate when you start. For your trial, actually, I think if you're an OKC, you can't go lower than 1.5 RMB. Actually, I think they changed that, so you can't go lower than 1.5 RMB. But trial rate, people start their trial rate at like 0.8 and 0.9 RMB. So it's like super lower than you would get for OKC, and that puts a lot of OKC people off. So like myself, I've been building for like 6 months, and now my trial rate, I'm not sure what my trial rate is now, but my regular rate is, I've written it down actually, my regular rate's about 2.5 RMB a minute, which is now the same as I would get if I was a level 1 OKC teacher.
So you're not actually making more. You're not actually making more.
Not yet.
But there is,
not yet.
You do believe that there's a possibility to build up to that.
Definitely. I have, okay, so I actually worked it out because I heard so many teachers say free talk's so badly paid. So if I wanted to earn the same as a level 5 OKC teacher, for a half-hour lesson, I worked it out on half hours, I've written it down, I would have to charge 3.4 RMB a minute for a half-hour lesson. That would get me the same level of pay as a level 5 OKC teacher. So what I did was I actually looked at what people are charging, and there's a lot of teachers who are like charging like 2.5, which is what I'm at the moment, which is level 1. But I did find quite a few teachers who charge, the highest one, I actually saw somebody charge 5 RMB a minute. Now she was 5 RMB a minute.
So she's maxed
That's
out.
the highest. Yeah.
Now, is she successful?
And she's got over 2,000 hours, teaching hours. She's not done OKC. So if you go and you see a teacher's ranking, you can see if they've ever taught an OKC class, because they'll have an OKC ranking if they have, or if they're exclusively free talk. And she's like an exclusively free talk. And she charges 5 RMB per minute with like over like 2,000 hours of. Now that doesn't mean she started at that rate. She would have like started like way low,
but you work your way up,
built it up. Yeah. So
once
you start a lot lower.
Once your reviews show enough, then you should be able to get that, like, to do that.
You can build up to it, but it's really difficult to build it up to that level. It would take like a lot of work, and also free talk students recommend you to other free talk students. So if you have a free talk student who really likes you, they'll recommend you to their friend, and then you'll get a new free talk student. So if you work hard, then you can afford to like increase your rate. Basically, but it would take like a lot of work to get to like a high level.
Do you have a goal, like what price you'd like by a certain date? Like, do you have a goal?
Yeah, so we're in like July, so I want, like, by the end of the year, I want to be at the same rate that a level 5 OKC teacher would be. So what I do is at the end, like, you can only change your rate twice a month. So at the beginning of every month, I'm like, okay, how did I do last month? Did I have enough classes? If I didn't, I might lower my rate to like 2.4, because it's not like lowering it loads, but I'll lower it to 2.4. If I've like I'm currently 2.5, if I have like a really good month this month, I'll maybe raise it to 2.6. If I've had an excellent month, I'll probably raise it to 2.7 and see how next month goes. So I'm hoping by sort of towards the end of the year, I can be hitting like 3.4.
So it does take a long time.
It takes like raise it like years, probably. Yeah.
What Beijing time hours do you work?
I'm generally I start 10 a.m. UK, so let me think, that I'm like 7 hours behind Beijing at the moment. Our clocks change twice a year, so at the moment I'm 7 hours behind Beijing. So because I also teach kids free talk, so I'm still around for OKC hours, like those good OKC hours. You find a lot of free talk kids want classes like those hours, so it's like 4 p.m. Beijing time maybe start. And then the adult free talkers tend to start, when OKC finishes at like 9 p.m. Beijing time. That's when a lot of adult free talkers start. So I have like kids in OKC time, and then the adults tend to be like 9 Beijing, like 9:30, 10 p.m. Beijing time. That's when I get filled up with the adults.
I know when I was doing free talk when I first started, I was getting a lot of lunch break things too.
Yeah. I just closed my really early. I did open at like 7:30 a.m. Beijing time. I had a regular student who wanted to just do half an hour of conversational English before he went to work. So his time was like half till 8. Yeah.
I had one of those too, and that was really awesome when you do that, because it's a good time. It's a good time for, for me too, but that's such a great idea to, like, okay, I'm going to get up and first thing I'm going to, like, do some training. I'm going to, like, learn something. Like, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you get a lot of, like, work breaks as well.
Do you suggest making multiple lesson plans or targeting a certain demographic? This is from Shannon.
Again, it would be, if you're not comfortable with teaching adults, target kids. Whatever you put in your moments, like when you're free talk, you have to attract your students through your moments. So if you want an adult, make your moments like adults, like talk about coffee and restaurants and food and nature walks. Like, but if your target is like like children, there's no point doing a moment about coffee, because your children aren't interested in coffee. So I always think, if you're aiming for a particular age, make your moments age appropriate for that kind of student.
I've always noticed that a lot of OKC teachers will do that. They will be posting, instead of posting something for the kids, they'll be posting like boring business seminar stuff. Like seriously. And it's like, that's why you're not, the moments aren't helping you.
Yeah. Right? I do have lesson plans. I have like kids free talk lesson plan, and then I just have a general conversational English free talk. Okay. I tend to find when I've got a student, and I've had like a few lessons with them. I have a reading class where I help kids, like we read stories together. Now, if my general free talk package is cheaper, after they've done like one lesson package of the reading, they'll go and buy the cheaper free talk package. But they'll still come along and want the reading lesson, which is like, you've got to, is it worth keeping that student? I mean, I still do it because I really like that kind of lesson anyway. But once you've got a student, they'll look at your cheapest package and they'll just buy that one, even though they want something else. So you just have to be aware of that.
But you can't really turn down a student either, though.
No.
Because if you were to turn down a student, then I mean, you don't get paid.
Like reliable. Yeah, and like if you don't teach, you don't get paid. I mean, there are still penalties with free talk for if you miss lessons or you miss classes, and like there's no bonus. But if like a student doesn't turn up, you only have to stick around for 5 minutes. If they've made an appointment and they don't turn up, you wait for 5 minutes, you'll get a message saying you've been paid. I think it's like 10 RMB, and then you can just log off. You don't have to stay around for that student to come in. And the fine, you still get fined for missing lessons, but it's not as much.
Will your OKC students see your free talk lessons? So I can answer that. They don't see your free talk lessons on the OKC app. But have you ever had OKC students come over to you?
No, it's a big no. I do know if you have an OKC student and you suggest to them they could possibly take your free talk, Palfish will really not like that. You will get they say you will get removed from OKC. So if you have an OKC student, and even if you're thinking out the goodness of your heart, they could probably do with an extra half-hour free talk just because they don't get something. But Palfish will remove you from OKC, and if that student then pays for a package, Palfish take 50% of that out of your wallet without say I had an OK student and they bought a 600 RMB package off me. One, I would get booted off OKC, and number two, Palfish would come in and take 300 of that RMB straight out of my wallet. And that's just in that's in their terms and conditions. So I always say, like, just don't. It's not worth mentioning to an OKC student that you even do free talk, because if you mention, like, I'm not sure if they mention it to you whether you'd be okay, but if you like want to stick with OKC, I would not risk it at all.
I've never had a student mention it to me. And to be honest, the student app, you can't see. They're two completely different apps for the students.
Yeah.
They're two completely different apps. So you have your Free Talk app, which you can see, and anybody can go and create a student account on either of these, so you can see the differences. But on your Free Talk app, you can see how many hours each teacher has done. It's set up completely differently. Then you go on the students app. The students app, you can't even search for teachers unless you're a paid student.
Yeah.
But you can't see like how many hours people have taught. Everything is, you can't see lessons that the teachers have made.
Yeah. Because I always thought, when I left OKC, I actually thought, it's okay. My OKC students will see I do free talk, and maybe they'll find me, or maybe they'll stay in touch. But I didn't realize then that they can't even see any of my free talk lessons. They have no idea I do free talk. So the only way that I would ever possibly let them know was to post in a moment that I do free talk. But then, like, are they gonna look through?
I don't think they all know what that means.
Are they gonna notice? I don't think
and
they're aware.
Free Talk students, I don't think, I'm going to get it for this. I don't think that OKC students actually look at moments as much as Free Talk students do.
Yeah, and I don't think OKC students read their messages that you send them. Like, all my Free Talk students answer. Some of my OKC, I'm wondering, I don't think you've read that. So some of them I don't think are aware.
Mine do. But I'll show you here. The messages for, have you ever been on the app? So like, so like this is the OKC
app. Yeah.
Okay. For a teacher on our app, our messages are all down here. For a Free Talk student on our app, our messages are all down here. For a OKC student, all their messages are up here where that little bell notification is. It's in with notifications. Are you more likely to read a notification or a message? See, like, notifications are annoying.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's probably why. Why are you successful in Free Talk? I think you already explained that. Like, you're willing to work hard. Sets you apart from others?
I think I get a lot of messages. I seem to get noticed. I think because I left OKC to do Free Talk, and that is, for teachers, that's really unusual. Normally people stick with OKC and do Free Talk on the side, but I kind of did it backwards, and that makes teachers notice me anyway. And I get a lot of questions from OKC teachers and Free Talk teachers in like my inbox, asking, how do I do this? How do I do that? For the students, I don't know. I think I just always try to like listen to what they want, as much as like when you're doing Free Talk, you have to listen to the student as much as you kind of tell them something. That's really important. They want to be like listened to as much as you correct them, if that makes sense.
So, okay. So you're listening to them, you're correcting them. As far as the teachers messaging you go, are they, once you explain to them what your rates are and that you have to work your way up, how do they react?
Some of, like, I have had a couple of teachers who've, like, last week 3 OKC teachers who were all like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm quitting OKC. I'm just going to do free talk. And I'm like, whoa, like, how many free talk students do you have? And they're like, well, none, but I've got 200 hours on OKC. And I'm like, don't quit your OKC and just think you can jump into free talk, because it's really difficult. There was only one teacher I was like, maybe you've got a point, because she has like medical issues and she was just too ill to do OKC. And I was like, okay, but it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of work. And she was like, I'm fine with that, it's okay. So once I've explained it, if they're serious about free talk and making it work, they'll give it a go. I find a lot of OKC think that free talk, because you start with less pay, they think it's an easier option. And they think because they can do OKC, they can automatically do free talk. And that's not, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. So the teachers who aren't serious tend to just disappear. And you'll find that either they just leave OKC and they never come across to do free talk, or they just stick with OKC. So I think if they're serious, they understand that you start lower, but you can work up, but it is hard.
Okay. So some teachers are like, oh, maybe I didn't want to ask about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I watched your live. I watched your live on Palfish, and I thought it was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
So anybody, I will put her name right here. This is her Palfish name, and you can find her on Palfish. She has a live. If you go into her lessons on her profile, you can see it. You can watch it, and she goes into more detail about it. If you hit the online button, are you open for calls? And you are open for calls. Is it better to schedule?
Okay. If you joined Palfish after February 2020, you cannot actually get people pre-book you for free talk. They took away that option. So if you joined before February, people can book appointments with you in advance, and I prefer booked appointments, to be honest, because I know the student, I know what's coming up. With the green button, you're never 100% sure what you're going to get. So I do like having scheduled appointments. But if you started after February, I think it's after like the 6th of February 2020, the students are unable to pre-book you. So you have to message them and say, when do you want a lesson? I'll make sure I'm online at that time. And I find that those teachers have to rely on just sticking on the green button more, because unfortunately students do like to be able to pre-book you, because they know that you're going to be there, and if you don't turn up, they'll get compensated. Whereas if they just arrange to be online at the same time, if the teacher doesn't show up, the student doesn't get any compensation. Free talk is really good, but really tough, if that makes sense. It's really good in that you can do what you want and you can get like a great relationship with your students. But if you want to build it up to like a good level of income, it does take a lot of work. You can make good money on free talk, but it does take, you won't like start tomorrow and start to make good money straight away. You do have to work at it like pretty hard, but it's 100% achievable to make a good income.